After the Creator formed man of the dust of the ground, he placed him in a garden with every tree that is pleasant to the sight and good for food. 4 riverheads went out to water the garden, and the first river brought gold and other precious stones with it, and laid them at the foot of the man in the garden. Then the man was commanded to work and take care of the garden, to watch over it, to maintain and preserve it, to maintain its beauty and its food supply, and to name all the animals that lived in the garden, which were placed under his authority and rulership. Even the woman was called woman, and was told where she was taken from, and given the name Eve by the man her husband. All these activities are in line with his male nature. They were in fact given to him by the Creator as the natural way for him to express his male nature. And so this is his male nature, a desire to exert his life energy and power to work so as to provide for and protect those under his care. The male nature also has a desire to receive gratitude, thanks, and appreciation for his works. The woman was created from the rib of the man because it is not good that the man be alone. So she was created as a helper, to stand before the face of the man always. It is not because the man had too much work that she was created, but because it was not good for him to be alone. For the man had already completed all the works given to him by the Creator before the woman was formed from his rib. Adam gave name to all the animals in the garden, touched all the trees, drank from all the rivers, and stepped on all the green grass as he walked up and down the whole breadth of the garden territory before Eve was formed from his rib. Therefore, the primary reason for the woman's existence is to be an emotional support and physical companion for the man. The Creator formed a flesh being from the rib of the man for his emotional support and physical companionship. The woman, therefore, was created with an emotional nature that gives emotional support, coupled with a beautiful face and sexy body that are good to look at. Having been created for emotional support, she has a female nature, that is, a desire to experience emotional feelings of happiness, pleasure, and satisfaction with her man and the fruits of the labor of her man. She also seeks to experience emotional validation and attention from her man, since she was created from her man and for her man. She wants to know if she is pleasing to him. That's part of her desire for emotional feelings of happiness, part of her female nature. The woman was seduced by the serpent to her female nature, that is, to her natural needs, wants, and desires as a woman. Her natural desire to experience emotional feelings of happiness and pleasure was used against her by the serpent beast. For the serpent was more cunning than any beast of the field which the Lord God had made. He had observed her and realized that she was created that way in order to provide emotional support to the man with her emotional feelings of happiness and pleasure. When she feels happy, she wants to share her happiness, her emotions, and her very soul and body and feelings with her man. So the serpent seduced the woman by playing in her emotions. He talked to her emotional female nature, first with a lie. "You shall not die." He softened her up by removing any hesitation she might have, by removing the image she had in her mind that stood as a sign of unhappiness, death. Then he replaced that unhappy death mental image with an image of pleasure and good feeling. "You shall be as God," knowing good and evil. Once she received that new image from the serpent beast, which promises emotional feelings of happiness and pleasure in being like a god, her female nature kicked in. She started desiring the fruits of the tree as something good for food, pleasant to the eyes, and to be desired to make one wise. Her female nature that desires emotional feelings of happiness and pleasure was created for unity between the man and the woman. So, what the serpent really wanted to do was to destroy that unity, that peace, that love between the sexes, and create the matrix of confusion, chaos, distrust, and accusation of one another as we have it today. And this is how the woman was seduced by her own female nature, which was created good and is still good for the human race. The male nature seeks to exert or use his energy and power to protect, provide, and to pleasure his woman and himself by his woman. The male's first instinct is to protect from harm. When that's taken care of, to provide for needs. When that's taken care of, to seek the pleasures of companionship from his woman. Therefore, the woman was created to stand before his face always, so to take away his aloneness. And she does that by physically being next to him, sharing her emotions, thoughts, wittiness, ideas, and her sexy body with him. And that's exactly what she did after she ate of the forbidden fruit. She shared her feelings, thoughts, and emotional experience with the man by offering him the fruit. For after she ate of the forbidden fruit and saw that it tasted good, she offered it to her man with her, so that he could also experience the juicy taste and feeling she experienced. Because, as we saw, that's part of her female nature and why she was created from his rib, to provide emotional support by sharing her thoughts, ideas, feelings, and emotional experience with her man. And that is how the woman's female nature was used to cause the man to eat of the forbidden fruit. So, the man was seduced by his own male nature, which seeks the pleasures of physical and emotional companionship with his woman. The female nature is a desire to receive emotional feelings of satisfaction and to give emotional support by sharing her happiness with her man. The male nature is a desire to exert his energy to protect, provide, and seek the pleasures of companionship from his woman. The man Adam was seduced by his desire for the pleasures of companionship with his woman, and the woman Eve was seduced by her desire for emotional happiness and feeling good words. So, while Eve the woman was seduced by the serpent's words, Adam the man was seduced by the woman's beauty and charm.